everybody, Bub's back with more Final Fantasy V 4-job Fiesta. We last left off, Angels and his companions entered the town here of Carwin, and they got some equipment and stayed at the inn. Now it's time to get some information. The poke flowers that bloom on the North Mountain are poisonous. The hiryuu used in a war 50 years ago and nearly died out. The one that's in Tycoon is the only one left alive. Well, we weren't able to afford all the armor, but I'm going to sell some ethers because I don't need them, and I'll buy that last piece of armor for Faris. So, we'll buy, sell those ethers. We don't need them because we're not a magic class. Get rid of that leather armor, and I think we have enough for that armor and a new shield for everybody too. So that's a little bit of a bonus because I have to get 50 points to get the double hand ability. So until I get that, I'll be using the shield, and I won't get that for a while because it's 50 ability points. So might as well get as good a shield as I can because the next boss coming up can hit pretty hard. So every little defensive point will count. Now you don't need to worry about magic. I'll get some magic later, but because we won't be able to use magic until we get our next job class. What flowers that bloom in the North Mountain are poisonous? Okay. Not a lot of new magic here to get. I think 3 new spells. Those like having things can't stand the cold. An antidote there. Let's talk with this lady. The country of Worus lies to the south of this town. Across the sea, they're using the power of the water crystal. We've got to stop them, but how do we get to Worus? Boats used to travel there, but since the wind is weakened, we don't have soldier anymore either. Faris, I'm sorry. Angels, don't you know of any good way we can get there? We can't go by the sea. And if we can't go by the air, and if we can't go by the sea, we're gonna ask that question after we talk to all these people here. So, sneak down here. There's gonna be a rod here that we can pick up. That'll be good for when we get our red mage, because it'll boost his elemental damage with the ice. Boats aren't going to Worus anymore. If we can't go by sea, we must go by... Since the wind weakened, we can't send out ships. So, what can we go by? Well, they talked about that dragon earlier. And we want to talk with this lady here because she's the trigger to get the husband to appear. Since she basically says that, hey, my husband said he saw a dragon on the North Tower, but no one believes him, so he's hanging out in the pub on the 2nd floor. So you have to go talk with him, and that's the sequence trigger for the dragon appearing on the North Mountain. I really saw it. I saw a dragon go flying to the North Mountain. What kind of dragon? It almost looked like it was wearing armor. My father's hero is on North Mountain. What's wrong, Lenna? There's a plant growing on the North Mountain called the hiryuu plant. Nothing other than that can heal a hiryuu's wound. Perhaps the hiryuu is injured. And if we can't go by sea, we'll go by air. We can get to Worus if we have the hiryuu. Nice plan, to the North Mountain. Alright, well, before we go to the North Mountain, let's talk with the other people in the pub and get us a treasure over here. 1,000 gold we want to grab. We'll also play the 2nd piano here. Like I said, it's important we're going to have to play all 8 pianos in the world to unlock all the bard songs. It's just important for this playthrough because our fire crystal job will be the bard. If you have a world map, you use the whole world by pressing the Y button. Knights can hold things in both hands. And like I said, that will basically double your damage. There's some hiryuu plant on Old Mountain, but it's surrounded by poisonous plants. Hiryuu and hiryuu plant are both really rare. I bet they made for good business. So it's true, a meteor fell near Tycoon. So we're going to sneak through this little passageway here. And the top pot has 1,000 gold. There we go. We'll go back, talk to this guy. He says the same thing though, so we didn't have to sneak back here. But I figured since we already made our way back here, might as well. Now we got that extra gold. But we can, like I said, buy spells if we want, but we're going to save it. Because there's some new stuff we want to buy eventually. We're also going to have to buy some new potions and stuff. Because like I said, the upcoming boss can hit pretty hard, so we want to grab as many potions as we can. run in here. And eventually we'll be able to have like 99 potions, just like how we had in Final Fantasy 1. A good rule of thumb, carry as many potions as you can, but we'll just space it out. So grab a few eye drops there. Some enemies are going to start using some status effects on us. Blind is one that actually works. It basically reduces your hit percentage, and because our characters are totally reliant on their melee attacks, being blinded is really, really bad. So, and we don't have a white mage to counter that spell to heal ourselves, so just gonna have to worry about our items. Now we just gotta head up to the North Tower, North Mountain, I mean. Luckily, not too many enemies that are really dangerous here. Here's the only other new enemy we want to encounter, the Gatlings. So basically like the needle hedgehogs from Final Fantasy 2 and 4. It can be really annoying. They have a needle attack that does some pretty decent damage. So, yeah, most of our characters other than Faris, so she's one job point behind, gained the second ability, Guard. Now they'll be working on the third ability, the Double Hand. And then the remaining abilities that the Knights get, just to equip shields, equip armor, and equip swords. So that other classes can use those heavy items and stuff. So here's the North Mountain. Short little dungeon. Got a few new enemies though. These guys, they're rock garters, they're big slugs. Where's the salt at? Well, we don't have any salt, but we do have 4 swords. 4 new swords. We are close to one-shotting them, so a few more levels we'll be able to one-shot everything in this area. Much later in the game we gotta come back here. But we'll be one-shotting things then, but like I said, that'll be toward the end of the game. Have a new type of enemies once you get into this area here. Phoenix down. That will help replenish the ones that we lost in the ship graveyard. And I think I used 2 of them there. They're really expensive, so. Another new enemy here, the Galacat, they're flying cats. So they resist Earth, not that it matters for us, but basically any enemy in the game that has flying, you can't hurt it with a ground attack, black magic like Quake. So, because they're floating, so they're not going to be harmed by. The Geomancer also has a Quake type ability, but we ain't getting that class in this playthrough. So, but gotta be careful, like I said, knowing what enemies you don't want to use attacks on them. They're gonna fail. So, just but then at the same time too, you also want to use attacks against enemies that are weak against them. Like that one person in Carwin there said, you know, hey, lizards and hibernating monsters are weak to the cold. So, if you have a black mage, you run into lizards, hit them with the ice spell. We'll have to remember that for when we have the red mage, because they'll be able to use low-level black magic. The first 3 level spells in black magic, and the first 3 level spells in white magic. Now we were told those purple plants on the North Mountain are poisonous, so we want to make sure that we avoid touching them. So just walk really slow around them, and you should be okay. And when they're on the outside here, we can encounter 2 new enemies. So the first one here is the cockatrice, which aren't as bad as the cockatrices in other games, because in other games they tend to turn you into stone, but not so much here, so that's a relief. Let's make our way through these patches of poisonous flowers. We'll come back here again to get that last enemy. Don't really farm it here, coming up when we have a save point and a boss coming up, so make a quick heal with the tent here. I said it basically functions as an inn, so all our hit points and magic points are back to max. I'll make a quick safety save here because we got a pretty tough boss coming up. It's a dual boss. You can skip one of the phases though. Father's Helmet. If you're a class that can use rods, you can get that ice rod that you used that you found in Carwin, and you can break it. When you break a rod in battle, it casts a level 3 elemental spell of the type of rod. So the ice rod would cast ice 3. This lady here, she's a huntress, and she's looking for the hiryuu. As we were told that they can catch a good price, because I mean they're rare. There's only one left in the world, and unfortunately, she says she can't find the hiryuu, but she'll make do with capturing the princess. So she knows who Lenna is. Faris is able to climb, and that rope, interesting. Faris and rope will become important later on, so it's nice that they foreshadow it later on, because she's gonna rescue us again with rope later on. So first it starts out with just Magissa here, and she casts magic. After we get her down to about 75% of her health, when you move 75% of her health, she calls her husband Forza here. Like I said, if we one-shot her with that, breaking that ice rod, we would, she'd skip calling her husband. But now her husband, on the other hand, where she uses magic, this guy will just hit you really, really hard. This is a good guy that we can use later on. The guard ability for our knights. If any of them get in danger, because the guard reduces physical attacks down to nothing. So you just have one of the character's guard, and then if they get hit by one of his physical attacks, and that's all he does, it'll do 0 damage. So as long as we have, somebody who still has hit points up to attack, this guy will fall pretty easily. So about 9 hits to take him down. Okay, so Lenna was guard in there, so because we still had angels and Faris able to whack away at him. And Forza drops the power potion. You can drink that if you're a chemist or have a drink ability. And a Magician dropped a whip. If you're a freelancer class, you can use the whip to paralyze the next boss coming up, but we can't use that, so the freelancer would be the only class that can use a whip coming up. So let's head back, grab this last enemy that we didn't encounter earlier. Now we've taken out the boss, and here we go, the blocks. So they're very resistant to all magic, as you can see there. They're only weak to lightning, but they're not really physically strong, so we can take them out pretty easily with our physical attacks. He got a lucky hit there on Lenna. Now see, he's trying to use a magic spell there called Flash. That blinds everybody, but it doesn't start the battle off with enough magic points to use it, so we get that message, not enough MP. Flash is a blue magic spell that blinds all the enemies. And it's a good magic spell to pick up with your blue mage. So if you have the blue mage in your party, you want to put an ether on one of those guys. That way he has enough magic points to use that, and then you can get that flash spell off of the guy really early. But we have no need for that because, once again, we don't have the blue mage. So one of the two things I didn't get to point out here. When you found that helmet over there, when Lenna found the helmet of Father's helmet, that's actually a mithril helmet that you can equip on one of your characters. And speaking of that, that's pretty interesting that when you fought Magician there, she poisoned Lenna. She shot her before the battle, and so Lenna started that battle in the poison state. So Lenna says, oh, the hero's injured, and she's going to fix him up. But she has to fix the hiryuu, she has to get the hiryuu plant, which you see is back there. Unfortunately, it's forcing Lenna to have to walk through some of those purple flowers. Hurry, give this to the hiryuu. We'll have to get hiryuu glass later on in the game, about mid-game. We're going to have another quest to get hiryuu grass, so get better, hiryuu. And I guess the grass is very, very like a magical elixir, because the hiryuu's like instantly recovered. And I guess he's like immune to the poison, and he can confer that like immunity or infer an antidote or transfer an antidote to Lenna, because he kisses her and licks her, and that ends up removing the poison from her. So woohoo! Uh-oh. Now we learn that Angels is afraid of heights. Later on in the game, we'll find out why Angels have that fear of heights when we go back to Angel's hometown. But that'll be for another episode. But speaking of going back to hometowns, now that we have the hiryuu, we can actually get back to Castle Tycoon, which is Lenna's town. We couldn't go back there earlier because the meteor's in the way. But now that we have the hiryuu, we can fly over that meteor. The hiryuu, though, can't fly over mountains, so you're really constrained into where you can fly with it. So we can head south down here to Worus, which is where we're supposed to go. So there's a castle and a town. We'll be visiting both of them, but like I said, we're going to head over to Tycoon Castle, because there's a lot of good treasure over there, and we can get some like story elements as well. We can learn a little bit more about Lenna, and actually a little bit about Faris too. So I'm just gonna head over this way. Gotta fly through the gap in the mountains. And now, like I said, if we tried to walk past this, or even with the chocobo, we couldn't because the meteor was there, but with the hiryuu, we can. The hiryuu is like the airship from Final Fantasy 1. It can only land on the grass, so that also limits where you can fly. But it'll get us to where we need to go. Hope you come back for our next episode where we visit Castle Tycoon. Take care, have a good day. Bye.